Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, episode number 34. In control of my schedule a lot more. And so I'm definitely kind of living life a little bit more so on my terms, but I was willing, as Gary Vee says, sometimes eat shit for a few years to get to the sort to put myself in a better upside. So I never thought I'll be the person that'd be able to like be an example of that, you know?
Welcome to the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, the podcast dedicated to inspiring dancers worldwide whose hearts have been touched by music and dance. The universal language of dance and music is spoken by many of us throughout the world. We want to motivate the dancer in you by sharing stories, insights, and ideas to enhance your journey. Join us now with your host, Charles Ogar.
Hello everyone, this is Charles with the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast, coming at you with the last podcast of 2016, and for good reason, we're going to be reviewing 2016 in this podcast. It's just going to be me and you today, no special guest, and I really wanted to dedicate this podcast to retrospect. One of those things, I'm really big on personal development and personal growth. And it is important to reflect and see the progress that you made, to see the things that you've accomplished, which are sometimes easily forgotten, to go back and see past mistakes, to go back and see things that you might have missed when you're passing through them sometimes. And looking back on the things can definitely give the future a different perspective for sure. So this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing this publicly, which is my first time, so it's a little bit jittery for me, but I think it's really important to kind of put yourself out there a little bit, especially if you want to grow in that arena. And yeah, just be open and honest about the triumphs and the mistakes and the lessons learned and things like that. So here we go, 2016 in review. It's been a super awesome year. It's ended on a super high note here at the end of 2016. And the first topic that I definitely want to talk about is going to be my travel schedule. As many of you know, if you don't know, I'm a traveling dance instructor. That is where I earn the majority of my income. And I've been doing that full-time professionally since May 14th of 2014 is when I got fired from my job. And that's when I kind of made the decision. It's like, hey, let's go ahead and try this entrepreneurial thing. Let's go ahead and try making my own way, working for myself. At that particular time, I'd already been reading a lot of entrepreneurial books and magazines and seeing startups and all this kind of things. So now it was time to kind of hit the rubber to the road and kind of jump off that cliff and spread my wings. And luckily so far I've been able to survive and thrive. It's always been a mission, if you will, of mine to not be a starving artist, but a thriving artist. So luckily I'm standing here today, almost 3 years now, at the end of 2016, completing my third year of dancing and teaching Kizomba full time. And I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity to do that. But there've definitely been a lot of bumps and hits and lessons learned along the way. But I wouldn't have it any other way to get to where I am now. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast. So traveling in 2016, I traveled 30 weekends out of the year. So that's a little over half the year. Definitely a busy schedule, definitely lots of flights, definitely lots of miles, definitely lots of workshops and attendees and things like that. And I'm super, super, super Grateful for all the promoters and organizers and the volunteers, and especially the attendees who come out and support these things, because that is definitely where I get the majority of my income to survive as an artist, as a dance instructor. Interestingly enough, looking back at my schedule, out of those 30 weekends that I spent away from home, only 8 of those were dance festivals. And of those 8 dance festivals, only 2 of those were Kizomba only dance festivals. The rest of them were definitely weekenders, where they each were featured just me or not a lot of instructors, like a weekender more thing than actual festival at a hotel. But it's just kind of a good pulse checker to see the growth of Kizomba overall in the United States, which I've kind of had the opportunity to kind of ride its wave into becoming more and more popular. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens in 2017 of how many weekends I travel and how many of those are festivals, and see if those Kizomba only festivals is something that will continue to grow and become something that's more of a norm, because in Europe, Kizomba only festivals are like out the wazoo everywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how the US can catch up, and I guess not even catch up, but just grow on a similar scale. So yeah, if I were to choose a trip that was definitely the highlight of 2017, it'll definitely be the month that I spent in Europe. I got a chance to teach in Sweden, in Gothenburg, at the Sweden Kizomba Festival. Shout out to Greg and Tanya from Sweden who brought me out there to teach there. It was an awesome time. Shout out to Emma, who assisted me for my workshops. I had an amazing time there. I was also able to teach a little bit in London and in Leeds and in Manchester, thanks to Svetlana and Inga. Thank you, ladies, for making that possible. I miss you. I'm going to be coming out to Sweden again at the beginning of February. And I also was able to spend a week in Paris. And if you guys don't know, Paris is kind of like the mecca of Kizomba in the world right now, especially for urban kids, but also for high level, authentic / traditional Kizomba. There's definitely a high level there in Paris. And I was able to spend there a week just to go out social dancing. And I literally just eat, slept, and danced. And it was awesome. My friend Laurent was able to host me there, and we're just able to go out to all the different parties. And it was really, really awesome to kind of get that and just have fun, especially being a dancepreneur. Usually, like, I have my instructor hat on or my organizer hat on at a lot of these festivals and things like that. But it was definitely awesome to go to Europe and not have any quote unquote responsibilities and just have a good time. So I'm excited to go back again next year. But that was really, really awesome. I also wanted to give a shout out to a particular person who has traveled and probably has seen me the most out of 2016. His name is Arca, my boy Arca. He's out of Ohio. I don't remember if it's Columbus or Cincinnati, but this guy has traveled multiple times to see me in different cities, in Chicago, in Cincinnati, in... where was I? In Atlanta. Like, he's usually, if I'm there, he's there, and on the East Coast at least. And this guy is a really awesome guy, a really humble guy, becoming a really, really good dancer. And I just wanted to give you a special shout out here on the podcast, because without you and other people like you coming out to these events and my weekenders and my workshops and things like that, it's really, really awesome to be able to be a part of your development and your growth as a Kizomba dancer. So I look forward to many more of those in 2017, Arca. Even saying this right now, maybe I should like have a Neo Kizomba Student of the Year or something like that. I don't know. It's interesting. Out of the places that I traveled to, the place that I traveled to the most away from home was definitely Nova Scotia. They brought me out for 1 week back in June, and then for 2 weeks out in November. And that's with Brigitte in Halifax, Nova Scotia. She's really, really awesome. Love teaching her. Love coming out to Nova Scotia. It's an awesome group there. So Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen again in 2017. Lots of good stuff. Also want to give a shout out to Nikki in Halifax as well. Also super humble, awesome, hungry student. And I think she deserves a shout out as well. All right, so that was traveling. Traveling takes up a big part of my year. It's a lot of what I do. I love traveling, the wanderlust and things like that. Another awesome thing that happened in 2016 was what you're listening to right now, the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually my second take at a podcast. I started another podcast. It was the I Love AfroLatinMusic.com podcast. And that was kind of around dance instructors in the salsa bachata scene as well. But with that, I think I only got to like maybe episode 17 or something like that. And then my travel schedule got really crazy and it was hard to manage everything. So at the beginning of 2016 in April, I'm like, hey, I want to start this up again because I really like the conversation and the dance and the conversation around dance and things like that. So we actually, me and my friend Emily, I'll talk about more about Emily in a bit, but we decided to kind of record the first two podcasts in April. So April, the first week of April is actually when this podcast started, and we have not missed a week. I think there's 1 week that we missed, which was the week after the Kizomba Festival. That was a crazy week, but we'll definitely be talking a little bit more about the festival this year and the festival for next year. But that was a huge undertaking. I was looking at the stats for 2016, and we have definitely exceeded 10,000 listens for the year of 2016. And that's not even a full year because we started in April. So in just a little 8 months, we're able to get 10,000 listens. So if you're listening to this right now, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a repeat listener and things like that. I really appreciate the listens. I love hearing your feedback and your commentary. So if you have anything that you want to tell me or give me a shout out or anything like that, don't be shy. You can go to the contact form at neokizomba.com and just give me a shout out. I love to hear back from you guys. I mean, 10,000 listens. I know you guys are listening out there, so don't be shy. Hit me up and I'd love to hear from you guys. The top 3 podcasts of the year, I'm going to link all of these in the show notes. Number 1 podcast was actually podcast 009 that I did with Quenda Lima. That one has surpassed 1,300 listens, which is really, really awesome. If you've listened to that podcast, it's probably worth a re-listen. I'm going to listen to it again here coming up this week. Definitely the most popular podcast. The next popular podcast was the 4th podcast that I did with Laura Riva of What It Means to Follow Like a Boss. That one is about to surpass 600 listens. And coming in at number 3 was the podcast that I did with Laurent. He's a Kizomba instructor based out of Paris, France. Podcast number 11. And that is How Important Are the Basics in Kizomba. And that one has also surpassed 600 listens. So thank you so much, guys. It really means a lot to see that this content, this platform in the dance scene is being well received and listened to. And it really inspires me to continue to do the podcast every week in 2017. More topics, more guests. And the vision with the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast is not just limited to Kizomba, but just to dance overall, because I believe it is a world of dance out there. Some of the guests have talked about bachata. Some of the guests have talked about zouk. So I bring on different instructors from different dance backgrounds. And I'm also going to challenge myself to kind of look more into the tango community, the swing community, the blues community, and things like that, to kind of all put it under the platform of Dancing Your Heart on Fire, because I believe the common denominator out of all of these dances is happiness, is self-discovery, it's self-confidence, it's learning how to love yourself, and all those magical, wonderful things that we get out of dance. And it's not just limited to the dance that I dedicate myself to, which is Kizomba. So thank you so much to all the guests that have been on the podcast. Thank you to the repeat guests, Laurence, Ronnie, Rachel, Laura Riva, and if you heard the intro to the podcast, that is Miss Emily, beep, beep, beep. I don't know why I do that. But Emily, if you're listening, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast and being I'm not sure. I think you did 3 or 4 podcasts with me so far. So we'll see how many podcasts we do for 2017. And thank you so much for volunteering your voice as the intro. I had another podcast. If you listen to like the podcast, maybe one of the first 6 podcasts, you'll hear a different intro with a voice that I got off of Fiverr.com. But people are like, hey, you should get something that's more, I guess, earthy or more real, I guess, because the other one's a little bit plastic, I guess you could say. And Emily volunteered. And since then, there have been no complaints about the intro. So thank you so much, Emily. Can't wait to see you. We'll be celebrating your birthday next month. Whoop, whoop. All right, so another big highlight of 2016 was the Neo Kizomba Festival that was here in Austin, Texas. This year, 2016, was the second time that we started the festival. And the vision behind the festival was definitely to bring urban Kizomba or Neo Kizomba and kind of highlight that for a weekend. And it was really, really, really awesome experience. We had just shy of 300 attendees. Artists that we had this year was Felician and Isabel, Laurent and Annaline, Anna, Marietta and Aaron, who are local instructors here from San Antonio, but now living in Austin, and also DJ Snicks. It was really awesome to have so many people under one roof. And with me, it was really interesting to have so many people who I have taught separately in a lot of different cities through my years of teaching throughout North America, all under one roof, kind of enjoying a really good time at the festival. It was definitely a memorable time. I'm so grateful for all the attendees, for the volunteers, the people that came out and helped, the artists. It was just a magical experience that was really, really motivating and inspiring for me. It was also, I don't think I've ever worked that hard in anything in my life as I did in that particular festival. It was our first year at a hotel, putting down the dance floor, the lighting, all that kind of stuff. I definitely had a lot of help to get through that weekend from Lola out of San Francisco and Pamela in San Francisco. I'm sorry, she's in San Antonio, and Michael Johnson out of Florida. These guys kind of really, really helped me get through the weekend and survive that festival. And for 2017, it was definitely a learning experience to kind of make 2017 even better. If you haven't heard about the 3rd annual Neo Kizomba Festival happening in Austin, July 21st to the 24th, let me tell you about this lineup real quick. And I'm going to give you a promo code that you can use at neokizfest.com. So we got Laurent and Adeline coming back. We have Anna coming back. We have Jojo and Michaela. If you have been watching anything on YouTube or Facebook as far as Kizomba Urban Kids, these two have been killing it. Ronnie Saleh has also been killing it. He's going to be coming in. And we have DJ Snakes coming back to Austin as well to throw it down on the 1s and 2s. That'll probably be it as far as artists, but DJs might add another DJ or two in the mix to kind of make the weekend really, really awesome. But this will be the #1 Urban Kids destination for 2017. You definitely don't want to miss that. If you haven't got your pass yet, you can get your pass at neokizfest.com. Again, neokizfest.com, and the promo code NeoKiz10, NeoKiz10 will give you 10% off your pass if you want to take advantage of that. The passes are going to be at the lowest price that you can possibly get it at any given time. The passes are not refundable, but they're definitely transferable. So if you end up not being able to go, you can definitely sell your pass. And we're looking for performers. So if you're interested in bringing your team out, I can get you some performance passes, and we'll be looking for volunteers soon. But yes, Neo Kids 2017 is going to be legit. If you love urban, Neo Kizomba, this is the place that you have to be for sure. Let's take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Have you been looking to level up your Kizomba, but you don't have the local instructors to take you there? Are you looking for something concrete to practice with your Kizomba partner? Or are you looking for Kizomba lessons that you can take on your schedule in the comfort of your home? If you answered yes to any of these questions, look no further. LearnToKiz.com is what you need. Progressive, step-by-step lessons that you can take at your pace in the comfort of your home or anywhere with a solid internet connection on your PC, Mac, or any smartphone. New videos are added every month. You can try this awesome resource out 30 days free at LearnToKiz.com/podcast. After the 30 days free, it's only a low $15 per month. But again, the special offer for the Dance Your Heart on Fire listeners, 30 days free at LearnToKiz.com/podcast. You won't find this offer anywhere else. LearnToKiz.com/podcast. And now back to our show. All right, moving along the 2016. Also, another thing that I do to kind of help the urban side of Kizomba grow here in the US is I put out my own mixes. I'm not a professional DJ or anything like that. A lot of what I learned is just kind of through osmosis and kind of picking my DJ friends' brains on a lot of different things and kind of learning as I go. But the most listened to mix that I put out was the Neo Kids Pump It Up #2. And that one was really, really fun because I did mix in Still Not a Player by Big Pun into the mix there. And it's not the remix, it is the straight track. I've been experimenting with that and seeing how that goes with playing like straight up R&B and hip hop tracks to kind of get that realm going. And that one got a lot of good feedback. So I'll put a link to that also in the show notes so you guys can check that out. And this brings us to the last topic that I wanted to discuss as like kind of a highlight of 2016 before we jump into kind of the plans of what I'm planning for 2017. Neo Kids HQ. So if you guys follow me on Facebook, you guys know that I recently moved into my own place. This is the first time that I'm living on my own as an adult. Usually I've always had a roommate, but the way that things worked out in the universe actually was able to find a super awesome place here that has a big open floor downstairs. I was able to find mirrors that are 4 feet by 12 feet for free on Craigslist. I was able to have so many people help me with the registry to kind of help me furnish the home and get like all the knickknacks like plungers and plates and all this kind of stuff as well. And this was at the beginning of this month, December 2016. I was able to move into my own place with the help of so many people. So I can't take credit for that by myself. But Neo Kids HQ is going to be my home dance studio. And this is where I was able to record the first Facebook Live lesson that I did. I gave away a free hour lesson for urban kids online not too long ago. I was able to recently record 40 plus videos in one weekend. And it's really just going to be my home base of operations for video recording. It's where I'm recording the podcast right now. I have 4 bedrooms here to kind of host people to come down who are going to fly in and train with me. If I have artists in town, I'll be able to take care of them here as well. So all in all, it's just really, really, really awesome that I was able to find this place and move into this place and basically use it as my home base of operations to continue to serve you guys a lot better and just have my own spot to kind of spread my wings, if you will. So that's been a really awesome undertaking. Super, super grateful for all the people who took time to send me things to welcome me into my new home. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Lola. Thank you to so many people who helped me get into this place. And I'm really, really excited to see what 2017 will be like living here, being able to kind of have my home base of operations to get everything done. All right, so 2016, it was really, really awesome year. It's always good to reflect. And when I'm thinking about it now and all the trips and looking at my calendar here of all my trips, I just like an overwhelming feeling of gratitude, and it's just motivating and inspiring to kind of know that back in 2014, I kind of jumped off that cliff, and now I'm getting to the point to where I'm kind of getting some wind, some beneath my wings, some air, the wind beneath your wings, and starting to build some cadence and being able to kind of support myself fully through entrepreneurial efforts, which has always been a dream of mine, but now I'm definitely living that dream. So with 2017, I'm really excited to continue going forward with the weekly podcast for the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast. I already have 2 Europe trips planned for the first half of 2017, which is going to be kind of crazy. At the end of February, I'm going to be teaching in Sweden again. And also at the end of April, I'll be in Paris for 10 days. And then we'll be topping that off with going to the Luxembourg Kizomba Festival. If you're interested in joining that, definitely use the contact form and send me a message. I think we have like 18 people so far who have bought their flights that are going to be there. So if you're interested, definitely message me ASAP so I can add you to the list. You can get your flights, you can figure out the dates, and because we're getting everything settled out with that. I'm really excited that I'll be starting NeoKiz Bronze and NeoKiz Gold, which are going to be Facebook Live lessons. I'll put a link for that also in the podcast show notes. I'm going to be giving away 1 free 15-minute Kizomba lesson every week via Facebook Live. And then I also have Facebook Gold, which will be a monthly subscription, $30, and you'll get an hour weekly lesson via Facebook Live with yours truly, just to kind of help you if you're in a distant remote area, but you have Facebook. We can definitely help you keep your Kizomba skills sharp and keep that motivation to keep learning Kizomba going. LearnToKiz.com, which is another one of my online offerings for Kizomba, that will have over 100 videos of Kizomba lessons that you can have full access to. That is also $30 a month. I'll put a link to this in the show notes. If you use promo code 5050, you can get half off the first month. And there's videos there from beginner, basic 1, 2, 3 into urban kids, Saida. So there's something in there for everybody. And the cadence that I think I'm going to look for is going to be about 5 videos a month moving forward into 2017, especially being here where I can have the recording studio here at NeoKiz HQ. Also look out for, in the first half of the early 2017, the Kiz Musicality course. I've been putting out some videos around musicality in Kizomba. The goal is to come up with an actual info product, a video product with worksheets and things like that and drills to kind of help you improve your musicality in Kizomba. Look out for that. And I'm also going to increase my YouTube presence with Kiz Connection. Kiz Connection is my Facebook group where I kind of post questions almost on an almost daily basis around Kizomba, around dance and things like that. We always have really, really good conversations. The Kiz Connection playlist that I'm going to have on YouTube is going to be me taking some of the best content that I have kind of generated there in Kiz Connection, putting that out there on a more public platform so you guys can take advantage of that. If you're interested in joining the group, there's definitely a link in the show notes where you can join the group. And if you're not following me on YouTube, if you search hashtag NeoKiz, you'll definitely find me out there. So that's kind of the overall plan for 2017. Looking at the calendar now, the first half of 2017 is almost booked solid. So I'm definitely grateful for that. I'm excited for the new year. I'll be spending New Year's in LA with some of the crew from Arizona and some new friends that I'll be meeting there in LA. So I'm excited to come out there and see you ladies there. And I guess my last kind of reflection point that I like to have here on this podcast, looking back on 2016, looking forward into 2017, I'm really big into entrepreneurship. And if you guys have been following me for a bit, you see at times I throw around the word dancepreneur, which is an entrepreneur in the dance realm. And this is one entrepreneur that's really, really super inspiring that I've been following for the last couple of months. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's written a couple of books. He has podcasts, really, really cool guy. And he talks about taking that leap of faith to follow your dreams and things like that, and making what it is that you love the most your actual life, like a labor of love, you know? And I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking about how some people are too quote unquote fancy because they aren't willing to step backwards a couple of steps to put them in a better position a couple years later to where they can even surpass where they're at right now. And that really hit home with me because that's exactly what's been my, I guess, journey thus far. When I got fired from my job, I was making $50,000 a year. I was fully insured with health insurance, lots of awesome perks. The company that I worked for was one of the best, the top 10 companies to work for in Texas. So it was by no means a bad job or a stressful job or anything like that. It's one of the best jobs that I ever had. And I got fired from that because even though the job was good, like people, I could have retired there if I wanted to. It wasn't what set my soul on fire. It wasn't something that I was passionate about. It was something I was good at, but it wasn't something that set my soul on fire like dance and Kizomba does. And I went from making that income to damn near half of that for sure, and just kind of scraping by to make ends meet as I was hustling and traveling and getting my name out there and going through all the tumbles and the hits and the falls and the lessons learned and things like that. And now, 2-3 years later, it's really exciting to say that I'm going to be at a position now where I can be where I was financially at the time I was fired back in 2014. But the interesting thing about it right now is that my income will be able to grow exponentially. I'm in control of my schedule a lot more. And so I'm definitely kind of living life a little bit more so on my terms, but I was willing, as Gary Vee says, sometimes eat shit for a few years to get to the point to put myself in a better upside. So I never thought I'll be the person that'd be able to like be an example of that, you know, but thankful to all of the supporters and the people that have helped me and inspired me and criticized me along the way. I feel like 2017 is going to be a really awesome year where I'll be able to earn more than what I was earning before in my last previous job. And that really, really makes me happy. That really, really makes me feel inspired and motivated. And I want to pass that motivation and the inspiration onto you. It is possible to live your dreams. It is possible to go after what you want. You have to be willing to sacrifice for it. And I'm still learning along the way. This super success story or anything like that. I'm just able to make what I was making before, but on my own terms, doing something that I love versus doing something that you feel you have to do. And if you guys are interested, I'll put a link with Gary Vee. You guys can follow him. He's a really awesome guy, puts out a lot of good content, and he's definitely been my motivation. So with that, thank you so much for listening in on the podcast this week. Thank you so much for all the listens. I'm really, really grateful. I'm looking for more opportunities to serve you, to grow Kizomba, to help dance grow and spread that along across the country wherever I can and by whatever means I have within my means. So once again, thank you so much for an awesome year. I'll see you guys next year in 2017. Thank you so much. thank you for checking out the Dance Your Heart on Fire podcast today. Be sure to check out neokizomba.com for links to everything that we chatted about today, as well as some awesome free resources to enhance your Kizomba journey.